So you had mentioned in an interview that when you were locked up in '91 that you were worth $28 million.
Well, yeah, I mentioned it though, but I mentioned that from the article that was posted up again. Like I said, when I had got locked up in '91. A lot of times they fabricate your numbers. You know, they actually place the numbers in suspecting that to say that if he would have continued on to actually play out the whole year, this is what he possibly would have made, or this is his full value of what we believe he would have made or would have been. So I don't really get caught up in how much I made. You know, matter of fact, let's just say if I was worth $28 million, break that down in half, break it down to half again, and then break it down to half again, and I still make me a multi-million-dollar drug dealer. So I don't get caught up with the numbers. You know, I get caught up on just being able to live well, be able to at that time to be able to take care of my family the best way I thought I could, and then kind of like, you know, go from there. I was at a point where not only that I didn't count my money, I never wore the same thing twice. I always had the motto of, if you can't afford to buy it once, you know, if you can't afford to really buy it twice, then, you know what I mean, you shouldn't even get it once. You know, so that's what my whole thing was. Being able to afford, you know what I mean, you know, what these rappers right now are able to afford was what I was able to afford when I was doing my thing.
What do you think were your biggest purchases during that era?
Oh, during that era, I was actually the first person to buy the LS 400 Lexus when they first came out. I was a car dude. You know, I had like almost like damn near a couple of cars throughout the week. I wasn't really like crazy on, I don't know, I really was more or less making sure that everything was, you know, I was more of a power person and my way of trying to figure out how I can go to different hoods and, you know, make things better for my associates. And I would go to different hoods and I would buy them out. Prime example is if a person had enough to buy $10,000 worth, I would pretty much tell him to take his $10,000, put it in his pocket, and I would front him, you know what I'm saying, his $10,000 with my $10,000, which makes us partners at that point. Not too many people would turn it down. I think maybe only one person might have turned that down. And then from that point on, when that one person turned it down, I went to his right-hand man and proposed that to him, you know, just to build up a little bit of conflict and a little controversy between their crew. And they wound up having to come back to me, and we wound up, you know, being partners and doing what we had to do. That's what allowed me to be able to, at that time, have about, between my partner Danny and myself, have at least 33 locations of crack spots in Brooklyn alone. And that's just in Brooklyn. We had 33 crack spots in Brooklyn alone.
Well, you know, when it comes to the drug game, when you start fronting people money, a lot of times people fuck that up.
Yeah, I agree with you though, but you know, a lot of people, you got to realize sometimes you got to think for the dummy, you know. So I already knew who I was actually dealing with, and I already saw the potential of the people that I was associating myself with. So I kind of like didn't have too much of that being a problem. And then also at the same time, you know, they know the consequences behind, you know, a loss, you know, especially a tremendous loss. You know, I wasn't one to tolerate too much of that. You know, the first example that I ever put out to let people know that I wasn't playing games is with a $5 crack valve, you know, and I used that one person that owed $5 as an example for people to understand that, you know, this guy's in the game, he's not playing, definitely not no joke, you know, and you got to come correct when you're dealing with this dude, you know, and then I put the rules out there to him, like, you know, it's either, to me, it's either all or nothing. You know, I'm not going to mess your money up, so don't mess mine up.
What happened to the guy who messed up on the $5 crack valve?
Oh, he was on the run for a minute though. But when we found him, I had a special location in my hood where I had a key of my own, where if a person messed up, they gotta make up in that spot and hustle in that spot for free until they finish paying off what they owe. You know, but being that he was on a run for a while and he only owed $5, I just made him pay for time. So it wasn't really so much the money at that point. It was just really the time that it took to try to catch this dude and find him and make him pay up on that $5. So it was either him begging for his life or him begging to go in the spot just to make up for what he owed. So he stayed in there for a couple of weeks, though, but he was good.